The Founders of Hogwarts, Part 1, Episode 7. Written and performed by Amanda K. Skelton. Inspired by the wizarding world of Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Fade in. Exterior Village of Glen, Street. Afternoon. Rowena storms down a bustling street, blowing off steam. Helena follows behind. They turn the corner, and Rowena comes to a halt, seeing Godric sitting alone, writing in a journal. He doesn't see them, so Rowena begins to backtrack, but Helena tugs on her mother's dress, wanting to go talk to Godric. He does not look up when they approach him. "Hello again, Captain!" Immediately, he claps his book shut, delighted to see the pair of them. "Hello. How greets the day?" "Long, but it can only improve if I would be allowed to see your hat." He gives it to her, and she runs off. Godric and Rowena watch her try, and fail, to flip the hat onto her head like Godric. She's quite artful. Never a dull moment. "Godric, I'm sorry for my behavior the other day." "It's all right. I'll be the bigger person. We could still be friends." She rolls her eyes. "I was unaware that we were." "That's odd. Normally my formal invitation for friendship makes it to their respected owners in a timely manner. I'm utterly shocked you did not receive yours. My apologies for the vexation. Is there an address I can send you one?" Rowena narrows her eyes, not completely amused by his mockery, but she plays along. "The Norley Hopkirk Library. I won't accept anything after Wednesday." "Duly noted. So, what brings you to Glen? I sometimes teach at the school. You?" She sighs. "Rejection, apparently." Godric looks at her very serious. "Majority of men here are simple beings. Intellectual prowess just scares them. They can't handle a real... No. Not that kind of rejection. More of the academic variety." The words are harder for her to say than she thought. Godric's tone softens. "You applied for a job at the Glen School for the Mystical Arts? Don't take it personal. Gwyneth has a prejudice against anyone who's prettier than she is." "Then how are you employed there?" Godric smiles at her words. She looks away, realizing it wasn't an insult. "Have you tried Wildmoor School of the West? I heard they have a new opening." "I have, but not for me." Godric stops, realizing, "You've been banished." She looks down at her hands. He moves closer. "You know, if no one will hire you, you should just create your own school." Her gaze hardens on Godric. He defends his answer. "It's not completely daft. You could run Rowena's charming school of witty magical arts. You can instill confidence in the young minds with the clever use of..." She grabs his arm, stopping him, the wheels turning in her head. That's actually quite good." "I mean..." Her excitement builds with each thought. No. I mean, running our own school, having our own library, teaching our own methods, having our own great hall, being our own headmasters and headmistresses, picking our own students, picking our own teachers, which I would be more than happy to lend my expertise." Rowena is magically gone. Godric nods to himself. "I should have led with that." He looks out and sees Helena one moment, still playing with his hat, and the next second, in mid-toss, she disappears. His hat flutters to the ground. He snaps his fingers, and the hat pops into his hand. He clears his throat. "Yes, that was good, solid plan. Yep." He exits frame. Cut to. Interior, London Wicks, Salazar's office, makeshift astronomy tower. Night. Salazar casually hovers the poisonous coin of Charlemagne in one hand while organizing his office with the other. On the far wall are several designs of a magnificent astronomy tower. A tiny hiss catches his attention, and a bright green snake, emerald, slithers over a set of blueprints. Salazar smiles. "Good evening, love." She coils up a candle and gives him her undivided attention. "I finally got what I wanted, but at the price of doing something I hate." She hisses sympathetically. "I know. I was trying to figure out another way. Any ideas?" Without warning, Rowena charges in with her arms full of books. "Salazar! Oh, I have it!" She drops everything on top of the desk, scattering his star charts. The floating coin drops into his locket and snaps shut. "I've just spent the last 3 days brushing up on the history of wizarding education, and I'm surprised there isn't more material on the matter. This is all I could find." She opens her satchel and pulls out another stack of books and drops them on the desk. "I like the Spartan education system because of their equal teaching for all genders, but I like the Greeks' approach. More academic, less military. A proper balance will be in order for well-rounded students." Salazar sighs. "You need a hobby." "Oh no, I found one." She shows him an old Greek school building. "You wish to start a school?" She beams. He doesn't hide his sarcasm. Your first hobby should be something manageable, like capturing a unicorn or traveling to the moon. Or we can teach the taming of wild beasts and improbable ways of magical travel to eager, impressionable young minds. We? Well, you're helping me. He looks back at the books, and in an instant, Salazar sees his dreams become a reality. But quickly he swallows any excitement and plays it coy. She picks up on it. Do not sit there and pretend this doesn't interest you, running your own school. I'm not indulging in the lunacy of your fantasies. I'm quite content with the accommodations I have. Oh yes, crammed between muggle walls, star charts sharing a shelf with your historical scrolls, careful not to step on precious artifacts that scatter the floor. Yes, your accommodations are quite desirable. But let's entertain the fantasy, shall we? She edges closer to him in grandioso. The greatest wizarding school of all time, founded in part by Lord Salazar Slytherin. 1,000 years from now, you'll be the only Slytherin worth remembering. Tell me what else you want. Salazar controls himself as she plays right into his favor. I want to pick my own students. Done. What else? I want a proper astronomy tower, the tallest you can build. Done. What else? He thinks. I want the biggest office. She extends her hand. Salazar stares at her to make sure she isn't bluffing. They shake. Cut to interior Londonwick Nolly Hopkirk Library. Next day. Rowena pores over books of mead halls, sketching her fingers to the bone. Helena reads a book in the corner, but actually she's teaching herself sleight of hand. Salazar enters with a letter. For you. Arrived as I did. He hands Rowena the letter and takes a seat. Salazar speaks while she quietly reads it to herself, and we hear Godric's voice drown out Salazar's. So, this is a formal invitation presented by Captain G. Gryffindor to Professor R. Ravenclaw, asking for her hand in friendship, to share and partake in social propriety that is considered respectable by both parties. Please sign if you accept. Rowena tries to push back her amusement. His mockery knows no bounds. Do you have anyone in mind? Wait, whose mockery? Rowena focuses on the GG crest at the top of the letter. She takes out the handkerchief from her pocket. It's the same insignia. Her mouth drops open slightly, making the connection. She gets up to leave. Rowena, where are you going? Cut to. Rowena hurries through the stacks and stops, looking through the last section of books. And there, she finds it. A book titled Modern Wizarding Warfare, The Helpful Guide to Protecting Yourself Against Dark Magic by GG. Right next to his initials is an embroidered crest with a gold and crimson lion in the middle. You clever, wicked, intrusive man. She grabs the books and exits in haste. Salazar watches her confused. Oh, Salazar frowns and looks over at Helena, who tries to hide a quill along the back of her hand. It's all in the thumb. Frustrated, she gets up and walks to him. Here, I'll show you. He demonstrates, and the quill disappears behind her hand. She lights up, and he hovers his hand over hers. What did I say? It's all in the thumb. He removes his hand, and a daisy magically appears in her palm. She smiles. Cut to interior London Wicks Tavern. Night. Godric talks loudly to a group of men. A surly man stumbles over to Godric, drunk. Godric Gryffindor. Godric's men stand ready to guard Godric, but Godric motions for them to relax. Yes, my good man. How may I be of service? Surly looks him up and down, slurring. I thought you'd be taller, but no matter. I have asked whom the best warrior is in this town, and all fingers have pointed to you. And do you know why I have asked this? Godric looks the man over and shrugs. You need no help fighting sobriety, so I'm at a loss. Surly brandishes his wand in front of Godric. You know what they say. Fear actually lines Godric's face. He looks back at Surly, swallows his anxiety, and regains his composure and sarcasm. It's a wand of Elder, an unbeatable wand. Surly leans a little too far and stumbles back. Godric catches him. I challenge you to a duel. The man props himself up against a chair, looking cross-eyed. Godric is unimpressed with the man's provocation. I must decline, my good sir. I make it a habit to duel men who are my equal, and your inferiority is shown. Surly raises his wand. How dare you! But before anyone can react, Godric breaks the man's wrist, causing the elder wand to drop to the floor. In one motion, he elbows Surly man in the mouth, twists the man's arm behind his back, and slams his head on the counter. Surly falls to the ground with a heavy, unconscious thud. Everyone in the tavern stops. The barkeep rushes over. Godric dusts himself off. Sorry about that, Phineas. He tosses the barkeep a pouch of coins. For any damages. As for what, Captain, the man nearly drank me dry. Two men drag Surly's body from the room, and the tavern's chill atmosphere slowly returns. Godric goes back to quietly drinking and talking to his men. Lieutenant Vance taps Godric on the shoulder. Your new wand, Captain. He presents the Elder Wand to Godric, but the Captain physically steps back from him. I've already got one. No thank you. You won the fight, sir. The wand is technically yours. Godric looks at the wand for a moment before speaking. The clash at Clackbog was the bloodiest battle I had ever fought, and it was the first time I saw this wand and what it could do. After burying 500 soldiers, I hoped it would be the last time. Fate, it would seem, has other plans for us. He motions his hand in a circle, and a thin, seamless black box appears between them. He opens it with a click of his thumb and puts the wand inside. Take this to my private vault in Gringotts. Tell him it's a matter of royal importance. Ask for Grey Coat, she'll see to your request. As you wish, Captain Gryffindor. And Lieutenant, Godric motions for the barkeep to bring over a pitcher of water. Sober up before waltzing into town. Best to keep your wits about you with such delicate a cargo. The lieutenant takes a glass of water from the barkeep and toasts to his captain before downing it. Cut to later. A group of red-headed women flock around Godric, flirting and touching him. He's quite enjoying himself. The sea of women shift, and Godric once again sees Rowena Ravenclaw sitting alone in the back table, but this time without her studies. Godric smiles at Rowena, buzzed from the alcohol and recent victory, and parts the company of the redheads, and takes a seat next to her. Hello, Professor. What brings you back to this tavern? Not the port wine. Godric motions to the barkeep. 2 fire whiskeys then, straight up, mint leaves on the side. Rowena raises her eyebrows. The barkeep places 2 glasses of fire whiskey on the table and a dish of mint. And where is the lovely Lady Helena? Studying, but most likely procuring something of value. In the future, keep an eye on that hat. Godric smiles. Is that a promise? The corners of Rowena's mouth smirk. He prepares the drinks, dropping the mint into the fire whiskey, and the once dark gold liquid turns bright blue. Interesting. Mint leaves infused with alcohol is used to loosen a person's demeanor. 10 points to Ravenclaw. Cheers. He hands her the glass. She abandons it on the counter and carefully finishes his in one long sip. Does this concoction have a name? Boldness in a glass, but it's far more effective if you actually drink it. I don't have much of a thirst. Explains why you're sitting in a tavern. Godric taps a handsome, dark-headed man on the shoulder and offers him Rowena's drink. The wizard takes it flirtatiously, and Godric kindly winks at the man, but he pulls his focus back to Rowena. So there's a rumor floating about that you're funding your own school. Tell me it's true. It is. I suppose I have you to thank. Smugly, Godric bats away the credit. Actually, that's the reason I've come. I recently read up on some of your more heroic ventures and met up with some of your former colleagues. You've got quite an impressive resume teaching common wizard law to the greater youth of Britton. Godric goes googly-eyed for Rowena. You think I'm impressive? I think your work speaks for itself. You also possess extensive knowledge for the caring and training of everything from dillywigs to dragons. Taking care of cute, cuddly animals has turned into a bit of a hobby. So much so that you wrote a book about it. She drops a large, leather-bound book on the table. It reads Wild Creatures and How to Keep Them Alive by G.G. She lays on the tart. Not as many pictures as I thought it would have. He mimics her tone. I've never been much of an artist. How did you ever acquire the time to write 2 books with your schedule so busy vanquishing vampires and banishing banshees? Godric leans forward, his gaze suddenly sober on Rowena. It would surprise you how many creatures unintentionally get caught up in the violent affairs of wizards. I save as many as I can, and I document what I learned to keep them from extinction. Getting published was just a bonus. And the answer is yes. To what question? The one where you asked me if I would take the opportunity to come and teach at your shiny new school. Her gaze softens because it's true. Cut to black.